The Dale Show. You know what I've learned? That saying alien war, because for like the last week I've been like, alien war.
Yeah, I heard you practicing right now.
Alien war. I learned I can launch in Tibetan throat singing from doing that. Do you want to hear? I don't know if it's technically alien or.
I don't think you should. Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
I don't know if it's actually Tibetan throat singing, but it sounds similar.
I think we should throw
scared?
that disclaimer.
Are you scared that all the Tibetan throat singers who listen to this are gonna be mad because I'm a hack?
Well, I just don't think you should claim to.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Be doing it. You should say, "I more like you." I feel like you could sound close, but
okay. Alien war. See, it's close. I'm not saying it is Tibetan throat singing, but that's as close as I can get. It sounds creepy when I do it.
Folks, Dale just has dreams of actually being able to do that. So
yeah, it'd be awesome if I could just launch into it without but every time I tried, I have to try, and then I get really raspy after, and it makes me cough, and then I'm just like, So do you know why I was practicing saying alien war?
Is that how aliens talk in your conspiracies? I just want to throw another disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
That I'm a guest, and your views don't reflect my views. I don't even know what you're going to be talking about. Are you just scared
you're going to get the taint of alien conspiracy on you?
And no, I don't want to be burned if anybody else out there burns you.
I mean, yet again, I love how many people you think watch this podcast.
Just in case anybody anywhere, just saying.
Part of me wants enough people to watch this podcast to ruin our lives, because that would mean a lot of people are watching it. But I don't think that's true. And also, it's a good thing you bring that up, because the last 3 episodes, which you were a part of, were kind of history and factual based, and this is all made up.
But all someone else's makeup, right?
Yeah, someone else has made it up.
People's ideas, yeah.
And I came up with other theories. Well, I read other theories.
Oh, you came up with your own? This is about stuff you came up with?
Let me finish, please. I'm saying other people came up with theories, and I took those theories and put them together for one big theory on alien war.
So you did make some things up.
Well, the problem with aliens and stuff is every time you read one person, someone else just makes up something completely different. So the term that a lot of people who want to distance themselves from alien conspiracy theories, they call it a living mythology. And that, from my interpretation, just means that it's constantly evolving. And the only way that you can come to grips with aliens and the different alien races and stuff is if you patch together your own narrative, because there's so many conflicting ideas out there, and basically every piece of fiction has a different origins / story / characteristics of each alien race. So mine today on this podcast is based off of Zecharia Sitchin again. I did episode 1 on the Anunnaki. If you haven't listened to that, I don't reference it too much. There's only one part of it that comes in, but the germ of this podcast came from when I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts called Earth Ancients, and they had a guest, Valery Uvarov, on, and he had written a book. Here, let me find the title of the book. He wasn't talking about the book on the podcast, but he brought up the overall theory of the book, which was basically the alien war, which this is all based on. So he based his theory off of what's it called? The Sumerian texts, and just like and he said that he talked to an alien, and that's where, so he basically built his
Oh,
theory off of him talking to an alien and reading the Sumerian text, which is the same thing that Zecharia Sitchin based his whole Anunnaki theory on. So then I went and I read a website called newpyramids.store/War of Gods English. And this has excerpts of Uvarov's book, Hierophants.
Hierophant. Okay. That's a tarot card.
Is it?
Right? Yeah, the Hierophant. I think it's the same one as like it's a priest or something.
Okay.
The Hierophant.
So before we get into...
No, he called it that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it just says when you Google a priest in ancient Greece is what a Hierophant is. And it is a tarot card.
I haven't read the book, and I'd imagine in the prologue of the book it would explain why it's called Hierophants. But the excerpts I read only dealt with this whole alien war part. So
you gonna do that voice every time?
It's almost too tempting not to. If it's annoying everybody, I'm sorry. Is it annoying you?
No.
Okay.
I like your enthusiasm. I was just asking.
So before
wondering if I had that to look forward to.
You definitely have that to look forward to. So because I'm drinking coffee now and it's 8 p.m. I gotta get the hamster running, because if I don't drink coffee, I'll just get lethargic in my words. So what happens with me personally is I'm so addicted to coffee that if I don't drink a lot of coffee, the part of my brain that accesses my vocabulary and puts my sentences together doesn't work, and I'll just like glitch out and forget words. I'll still will do that, especially if you watch my other podcasts. I do that a lot too. So because the other podcast is a lot of on the fly stuff, whereas this one I have notes. I've taken notes on aliens.
Okay. Gotcha. Wait, I have a question. When you were talking about that person who talked to an alien, one day you came home from work and told me that you had listened to a podcast. It was all with a lady who talked to an alien, wasn't it?
Oh,
is that? Are we going into that today?
Not that
part of
one.
your research. Okay.
That I think I can't
remember
what happened that one. But
okay, sorry, threw it off.
The podcast I listened to, I talk to an alien comes up more often than you would think, because you'd think it would come up 0 times, but it's come up obviously more than once. So, and to me, I guess another thing I should explain first is, because every time I start talking about aliens or conspiracy theories with you or other people, they're like, do you believe this stuff? And I take the Fox Mulder approach is I want to believe, like whether it's like Bigfoot, aliens, magic, ghosts, Jesus, I want to believe it, because if Jesus is real, then all the other ones are real. And I want magical powers, or I want sacred weapons, or all that stuff. Because I mean, right now, the way life is with none of that being real, the way it seems, is just kind of like, but at the same time, you don't really have existential crises. Like if all that stuff is real, then it just adds another platitude. See, that's what I mean by getting those words.
Another level. Yeah.
Yeah. You get this like other platitude of your whole existential thinking of like, what is life? What does life mean? If aliens and Bigfoot and mythical creatures are real, then you have to like add all that in there. I just like it because it makes it interesting.
I think Jesus being real is different. It's just totally different. That's a different element though than like if aliens are real.
Well,
for me anyway. For me,
let me tell you something.
Well, let me say why.
Okay.
Maybe first.
Okay, you say why.
Because it means that you then have like an ultimate goodness to aspire to that we all can aspire to, that there's purpose to life, and also that compassion really is like the best way for humans to live with each other. Like there's an ultimate truth in that, that kindness actually does matter.
Actually, it's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the stipends of the alien war is that humans have to emotionally evolve, and that could come into it like that. So
To
Jesus might
be
be one of those, like it might
more
be like a,
compassionate though,
yeah,
or what?
like we have to evolve and become more spiritual and compassionate and stuff with each
Mm.
other. So Jesus could be an implanted like breadcrumb as a path to lead us to spiritual enlightenment and being better people. And before, when I was saying if Jesus is real, then aliens are real, because the
I
whole
mean,
thing I was
Jesus could
talking
have
about,
been an alien.
Christians will be upset with what I'm about to say.
Okay, but I don't want to be the one that says that.
Okay. Everybody out there listening, Andrea is pure and innocent. You can hate me for my views on Christianity, the Anunnaki, and how angels are actually aliens. But see, if Jesus wasn't an alien, he was only half alien, because I believe that Jesus was a Nephilim, i.e., he was half angel slash alien, half human.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
God, I totally. Oh, what I was gonna say was, and the whole thing about if Jesus was real, then aliens and stuff are real, is because, like I just said, he was a Nephilim, which was half angel, half human. Then that would mean that all of Anunnaki, like I laid out before, because Anunnaki was a race of humans, which comes up in this episode again, all you Anunnaki lovers, because, okay, do we want to start by me saying the three races of aliens, or do we want me to start by explaining the war? Alien war.
Should probably explain the three that are involved in this
Okay.
war. I almost tried to say it like you right there. I took a breath and then I was like, that's not gonna work.
Try it.
I can't.
Do it.
Okay, hold on. Alien war. Again, it just cracked. Alien war.
See, it's hard. It's like you gotta like almost break your voice, so it's gravelly a bit.
I don't have a deep voice. Also, genetically, I think your voice is deeper. Like just biological. Yeah.
I hope my voice is deeper than yours, for reasons. Okay, here are the three races of aliens. So I'm getting all the info from Wikipedia and various super crazy alien websites. I hit a milestone of conspiracy theory. I stopped using Google search and started using DuckDuckGo search on my computer because I wasn't getting enough good results.
Man, I
Because
saw people
Google
posting
hides
that.
the real conspiracy websites.
I saw people posting about that.
Mm-hmm.
Some COVID deniers that I have on my Facebook. And
right.
Actually, I don't know if they denied COVID existing. I think they just thought it was the government conspiracy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were like, that's where the real information is. And I never tried to look it up.
Okay, we're not talking about COVID this podcast because that's a good way to get it ban hammered and it's obnoxious. So
anyway, yeah, well, DuckDuckGo might get you banned too.
That is a good example of who would use DuckDuckGo, because Google does. I don't know if it's like they on purpose screen people from websites from coming up, but I find that when you use DuckDuckGo, a lot of the less polished, which is good for aliens and stuff, podcasts or websites come up, as opposed to Google, where it's like Google's like if you're looking for mainstream shit, they have really good algorithms to bring up the most popular websites and stuff. But when I'm searching for something like, say, the Dulce military base in New Mexico, it's not really there's not really too many popular sites that talk about it. So that being said, let's start with the gray aliens. These are the most popular. They're the ones that people think about when they think about aliens. So gray aliens also referred to Zeta Reticulans because they come from planet Zerpo or ZR3, which is the third planet out from the star of Zeta Reticuli. According to journalist CDB Ryan, 73% of all reported alien encounters in the United States describe gray aliens, a significantly higher proportion than other countries, which is 68. Such claims vary widely, but typically grays are described as being human-like with small bodies and smooth gray-colored skin, enlarged hairless heads, and large black eyes. Abducted witnesses describe Zetas as having large black eyes with no pupils or iris, large heads with no hair, small, barely visible ear nodes, and small noses. They also appear to lack human expression or genitalia, which comes up later in the pod. I don't know why I'm giving you little snippets or like teasers for later on.
Do they need genitalia though? You said that like it's shocking. Maybe they don't need it.
How are they going to reproduce, Andrea, without genitalia?
I don't know. They probably have a way.
Okay, the reason that this comes up later is one of the theories is that gray aliens, they come and they take men's spermies and women's little eggies and they make human alien hybrids because they can't breed anymore. So they're using
anymore.
Yeah.
They could at one point and cannot now.
Yeah, I don't know why they can't, but that's one of the theories is that since they can't breed anymore, I guess they got too technologically advanced, and then maybe this is just on the spot supposition right now. Maybe their home planet, they had like little tubes that would like breed for them, and something happened with their technology or whatever, so they came to Earth. And another theory is that they're taking our souls to put into biological robots to make them like sentient beings instead of just like robots.
These are the evil ones? These are like the ones
Yes.
people talk about and they think they're evil? Yeah, okay.
Greys are the bad guys.
Yeah.
The next one.
I have this fear of waking
No,
up and
go ahead.
an alien being in my room. I've always had that.
That's a creepy fear.
Yeah. And sometimes I've woken up and it's like a dream, but there's somebody in the room standing there.
Wait, you've woken up and you've seen stuff?
Yeah, but it's not like an alien. So I always thought maybe it was like
oh, that's okay. It's better to see a
but
ghost.
I still just all my life I've been so afraid of like looking out my window and seeing an alien, or like worse, just waking up and one just being in the room there. Like, it just creeps the absolute crap out of me.
Okay, Andrea, if I woke up and an apparition or a person or an alien or even a cute dog was in my room, I'd freak out.
I just had it in our living room the last time I slept on the air mattress.
What?
I told you. Yeah, I told you. I woke up, there's a guy in the living room.
I thought you said you felt like there was a guy in the living room.
No, I saw. It was a vision.
I'm in the living room right now. What if he's still here?
I know. I said it's probably a ghost from like all the other people.
Oh, that's better. Probably a ghost.
Yeah. Anyway, he was
somebody
there.
I can't hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Aliens are better because baseball bats don't waft through them like smoke. I mean, I guess I'll try. I'll forget about this in 10 minutes. I was going to say I'm never going to sleep again, but we know that's a lie.
Yeah, we do. We do. We know that Dale has no problem sleeping.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I woke up and there was an alien in our room, I'd be like, hello, sir, get ready for 10,000 questions. Let me get a tape recorder because I want proof of this. And then I would just ask him so many science fiction nerd questions.
You would not.
I would.
That one time you thought you saw.
That was the time I thought I saw a ghost.
And
ghosts don't answer questions. They're straight up only thirsty for murder.
You were scarier than I was.
Yeah, because ghosts are terrifying because they're jealous of our meat suits and they want us to not have meat suits, so they try to kill us. Ghosts are the worst. Aliens I can work with. Ghosts? Hell no.
I think aliens are probably scarier, in my opinion.
Nah. Well, I guess it depends. Like, yeah. Okay. Um, the next is reptilians, which don't really come up. They're just like whenever you talk about aliens, the three most popular are Greys, Reptilians, and the Nordic aliens. So they don't really factor too much in to the alien war, but they're here now. So that's like they're just here now and fucking with humans, and that's how they work in. They weren't part of like they were probably part of the ancient war, but okay. So I'll talk about reptilians. The idea of reptilians was popularized by one David Icke. And if you don't know David Icke, that is a huge rabbit hole that I kind of don't want to get into, but just know that he is a English born, used to be soccer player, super conspiracy guy who was super active from like the 90s until now. And
Did
he's
he get a
gotten
lot
in
of concussions in his career by chance?
probably.
I feel like that sometimes sends people.
I mean, it would. It does.
Oops.
It does. Concussions do change your personality and your willingness to believe stuff. But
And
he's
folks, that being said, I actually have had post concussion symptoms for a decade now. So I have an interest in concussions. Pay attention to them. I have felt them
mm,
in my own brain.
yeah.
So anyway, just want
Like
to
I was telling someone
have
that
that.
Roseanne Barr turned
Yeah, we
into
were talking
like a
about.
comedian. Oh yeah, she turned into a comedian because she got hit by a car when she was like 15 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
There are. It
Okay,
does change your brain anyway. It's interesting. It's interesting.
so David Icke popularized this conspiracy. Shape-shifting reptilian angels, aliens, control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. Icke has stated on multiple occasions that many world leaders are or are possessed by so-called reptilians. According to British conspiracy theorist David Icke, who first published on this theme in his 1999 book, The Biggest Secret, tall, blood-drinking shift shaping, can't believe I almost said that. Shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system, now hiding in underground bases, are the force behind a worldwide conspiracy against humanity. He contends that most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians, including the Merovingian dynasty, the Rothschild, the Bush family, and the British royal family. Now it goes a little bit further. So Alex Collier, who is another writer who talks, according to him, so this is what you'll kind of see like every new kind of UFO expert has their own idea. Like this is what he thinks about the Draconians. So the Draconians or Dracos have two main castes. The first of which is a warrior caste that are in the 7 to 8 foot range, who are apparently feared throughout the galaxy for their fighting abilities. The second caste are a royal line of Draco reptilians that he describes as, I don't know if it's Ciakars, so I don't know if this is Chiakars or Siakars, but I'm gonna say Sia because whenever you have a C with a vowel, it kind of says a S instead of K. So the Siakars, which because of their alleged size, psychic ability, and alleged wings, might be confused as proverbial dragons. So these are like 40-foot long reptilian people with wings. So that's
Hmm.
why people think
That's
that's
where
where he
dragons came from.
says, yeah, that's where he says they come from. The Draconians seem to be very active in controlling human elites, institution, and financial systems, promoting militarism, creating a climate of scarcity, struggle, and insecurity, harvesting humans and manipulating greys and other reptilian races. Draconian activities contribute to global problems such as concentrated wealth, corrupt elites and institutions, ethnic religious violence, human rights abuses, a culture of violence and terrorism, and organized crime. So basically, this Alex Collier is saying that all the decisiveness and separation thoughts in human society are because of the
Divisive.
manipulation of these Dracos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
what
gonna
was
lie,
that?
when you said that, I was like, I could almost believe that
It
because
does. It does make
there
sense.
is there are so many hollow politicians. I probably shouldn't say that, but they're
Andrea, you
like,
could say it.
I don't think that they have, I think lots are sociopaths, don't have any,
Yeah.
just pander
So
to everyone, don't actually have any conscience or
mhm.
consciousness themselves, conscientiousness even. They're
So
just actors. And I think there's a lot of evil people too in the world that it's just very difficult to explain how that could be human. But
yeah, like where
maybe
that
that's just like it's easier to be naive, right? And be like, no, that can't be other human beings doing that.
yeah, like it would be a good explanation to where, because when humans are evil and they're like concentrating wealth and stuff, it almost harms the rest of the human race. So it feels unnatural for them to be.
It does harm.
Yeah. And one of the possible theories is that the reptilians don't want humans to reach like spiritual involvement and stuff. Like I was saying before, how one of the things of the war is humans are supposed to reach this level of spiritual involvement so that we can move on and rejoin the other aliens out in the galaxy. So
Hmm.
I think like the reptilians are trying to keep us fighting with each other so that we don't evolve. That would be my guess as to why they're doing it. Whereas the Greys just want their motivations are more selfish and they want our bodies to use for experiments and stuff.
They want your body down.
Yeah, they do because it's big and strong. And they don't want me to join in the alien war because
Yeah.
I will murder so many of those 3 foot little punks. I think I could take probably okay. Stipend. They're not allowed to use like telepathy to make me not want to fight. It's all
Mm.
physical. I feel like I could take at least 3 gray aliens.
What if
Like
they're
they're three
made out
foot
of
tall.
metal though? They're just like little metal
Mm,
things.
how
Like they're
heavy would they
short, but
be?
they're just solid.
But see, if they're made out of metal, then they would still have to be light because they walk around. And when you see them in like videos and stuff, they don't clunk like heavy metal. So they would be like really thin metal. So if they're that thin, I could pick one up and chuck it at another one. Like as long as they're under 100 pounds, I could like grab one by the leg and like swing it around, and then its big bulbous head would hit the other two, and then I could still take 3. So
I
even
don't
if they're
know.
made out of metal,
I don't know if I want to spend the night with you in our home tonight now that you've called on these aliens.
I didn't call them on. I warned them off because they're like, "Oh shit, that guy thinks he could take 3 of us." Well, we're not going because we only travel in pairs and we don't have 4. So what up, aliens? I
They
mean,
only travel in pairs? Did you already
I don't
say
know.
that
I
and I missed
just
it?
no,
Oh,
I
okay.
just it's just something
You just made that up.
I'm like half convincing myself that I'm not in like
And you're
getting
not in
the
danger
wrath
now?
of aliens. Yeah, I mean, I made the stipend that they can't use like telekinesis and shit on me. So if they want to fight, it has to be purely physical. Although how much I get gout and how sore my back always gets, I'm not really that peak physical condition. So I probably couldn't take 3. But imagine if they came and I whipped one off the balcony.
Yeah. And then I don't know
Yeah.
what would happen. Probably more would just come.
Mhm.
That's how I feel. I don't know. That's why I don't aliens are scary. I don't mess with aliens.
You should
They're
be
from space. They
you should
probably have
have your nerves calmed because now you know how tough I am and I could beat up aliens. I don't know about reptilians though because I don't know because they're slippery. But I guess the gray aliens are probably slippery too.
they might
Okay.
be. They might have things we just can't even
Mhm.
imagine.
The last
I'm gonna have
aliens.
nightmares tonight. Thanks.
You're welcome. The last aliens are the Nordic aliens. They're referred to as Nordic aliens because they look like Scandinavian Nordic people, like they're basically 6 to 7 feet tall, always have blonde hair and blue eyes, are slim. And in all the descriptions, it talks about how sexy they are. They're like, they're very good looking aliens. We really like, and they're like benevolent and they're happy. So my whole thing is, you know how I said that the
I think that's what you
reptilians,
are. Are you
oh,
not Nordic looking? Are you too
I
Dutch
am,
to be Nordic?
well, Dutch is like right below the Nordic
That's what I'm
countries.
saying. And you're about 6 feet tall and you're pretty happy.
And I have blue eyes and blonde hair. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
you
if I
seem
was an alien and nobody told me till I was in my 40s, I would be pissed.
maybe your
I could
people
have
are still
spent
coming for you.
I could have spent my 20s doing alien shit instead of chasing women around and trying to convince them to talk to me. Ah, my wasted youth. I could have been doing alien stuff. Okay, so the Nordic aliens role in the whole human thing is that they are kind of like the caretakers of earthlings. Like after we got in the war and we fought and we lost, they're the ones who are like watching over us and encouraging us to like evolve spiritually so that we can join the other race. So here's the little write up on these guys. Nordic aliens are humanoid extraterrestrials, purported to hail from the Pleiades star cluster within the Taurus constellation. They resemble Nordic Scandinavians. Professed contactees describe them as being 6 to 7 feet tall, with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. Among believer, Nordic aliens are often associated with spiritual growth and love and acts as protectors for the experiencers. In contactee and ufology literature, Nordic aliens are often described as benevolent or even magical beings who want to observe and communicate with humans and are concerned about the Earth's environment and prospects of world peace. They are described as very benevolent beings who view humans as childlike and in need of guidance, which nailed it right there. Humans are very childlike and need guidance, but are we childlike and need guidance because of our own human nature, or is that all just because we've been fucked with so much by the reptilians? So their
I don't
mission
know.
on Earth is to the Nordics' mission on Earth is to assist humans in their spiritual development and other prophecies and predictions to those they contact. All right. So those are the alien races. Took a
That's,
little
you
longer
know
than I
what
wanted.
though,
Yeah.
on that, that's like a little bit, what's the word? If you were actually from a Nordic country and you were like, yes, of course, we're absolutely the most evolved and
Mm-hmm.
here to make sure everybody else doesn't just be a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like somebody just super arrogant from one of those countries could have made up this theory. Like, yes,
Yeah.
we are the superior race, of course.
One of the funny
So that's
things
kind of
is um most people when they first started being abducted and talking about aliens and stuff at the beginning of like recorded alien interactions, it was always the Nordic aliens, and then it slowly turned to the Greys, and then it became, like I said before, like over 70% Greys. So isn't that weird how it went from one to the other? And some people say that the way aliens interact with people, it's like they they like communicate with us telepathically, and they appear as something that we could kind of fathom. So the reason that the Nordics, who were the first aliens to contact humans, they looked like humans, was because that was the only way people could interact with them and understand them. But then as soon as they like, I don't believe this and stuff, because that would mean that like great that all the aliens are the same and they just change based on the way we perceive them. Okay. So do you want to get into what happened with this war? Okay. So this is one of the most interesting theories I've ever heard because it's just dope. So a lot of the times I'll talk about 13,000 years ago, because if you're looking at archaeology and stuff, there was stuff that happened like 13,000 years was when like kind of humans just kind of started popping up around. Like you had Clovis people in North America, and it was like like Clovis first is like archaeologists and stuff will admit that Clovis were the first advanced people because they kind of just appeared everywhere in North America 13,000 years ago, but they already had weapons and tools and stuff. So it's like, where did they come from? And then you get stuff like Gobekli Tepe, which is like the one, I think that now it's the oldest like ancient structure and stuff. But the thing is, it's like 20 to 13,000 years old, and it's just like super complete and super like advanced for what society was supposed to be. Like usually you'll see if a society's building up and evolving to be temple builders and stuff, they'll have like practice temples and stuff that they start with, and they're kind of rudimentary, and then they get more technologically advanced. But Gobekli Tepe is just like by itself, and it's like advanced building techniques that people weren't supposed to have back then. And then you have stuff like the Sphinx, which they'll tell you is like 3,000 years old, but a lot of people are taught, like Randall Carlson will talk about the weathering on the edge of the Sphinx encasement and how it's like got 10,000 or more years of like water um kind of decay or whatever on the sand. Like it looks like it's been rained on for like 10,000 years, but there hasn't been rain in that area of the world for like,
Erosion.
yeah,
That's the word
erosion.
you're thinking? Mhm.
Thank you. Remember before when I was saying I can't get my words? That was one of those words. So yeah, they're saying that the erosion on the Sphinx and stuff has to make it like over 10 to 13,000 years old.
Mm.
So what this means, and then you could just look at all these other things, like all the stuff in the Mayans and stuff, and then how like Coexocadl is based off this like tall white European man looking with a beard, which was a Nordic alien, in my guessing. And then you have stuff like
Mm.
the Anunnaki. So here's where it gets good. Up until 15,000 years ago, Mars had people on it. So Mars and Phaeton were two planets that were super advanced, and they were like galactic civilizations, and they wanted to go out into the galaxy and start taking over stuff. And the War of the Gods is a reference to Mars and Phaeton going and taking over others, and they like brought a bunch of like civilizations that weren't human, they were alien civilizations. They brought them to the brink, and it was like, it was kind of like empire building, but like intergalactic empire building.
Mm.
So all the alien races, they were like, if we don't fucking stop these super technologically advanced humans, we're all going to be fucking wiped out. And these assholes are just going to rule everything. So what they did was, okay, this is kind of like iffy. Like, you know how there was a comet that took out the dinosaurs?
Yes.
Supposedly, that was a comet on this field that the Earth kind of goes through every like um Ura what was his name again? Uvarov was stating that Earth goes through this like comet field every 30 million years. So what
Okay.
happened was, and since Earth would go through these, Earth, all the planets in the solar system had like comet detection so that they could tell if a comet was going to come into contact like with the orbit of a planet, or if it had bacteria on it, or if it had like fungus or something that would harm these civilizations that were in our solar system. But these other aliens, they went to these planets and they turned them all down so that Mars and Phaeton couldn't detect these comets coming up. So what happened was a huge comet hit Phaeton and completely destroyed it, and the chunk that's left turned into our moon. And
Hmm.
then Mars, a comet hit it, so like a comet that was so big hit it that it put a giant crack in Mars, and then iron oxide from inside the planet escaped into the atmosphere and kind of destroyed the atmosphere of Mars, and it leaked, and that's why Mars is red, because the iron oxide is basically like rust. And so the humans from Mars and Phaeton they are what is called the Anunnaki, because they were so scientifically advanced that they had come to Earth. Like when I like the episode I did on the Anunnaki said that the Anunnaki came to Earth because they wanted to mine our resources and stuff. So what would have happened was Mars and Phaeton needed all like our gold and our metals and stuff so that they could build their technology. But they, since the like, one thing you'll notice if you take a look around in society right now is that the more technologically advanced people get, the less they want to do hard work like mining gold and minerals. So what they did was they didn't want to be the ones stuck mining all this stuff. So they found some early humanoids, like it would have been like, okay, you know how, are you familiar with like human ancestry at all and how there's like a thing called the missing link? Do you know what that is?
I feel like I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Remind me of
so the missing link is the ones that, because they think like
the leap between like,
anthropologists think that humans and primates came from the same ancestor,
yeah,
and the missing link would have been the split in the
yeah.
two genealogical lines that they came from. So what Mars and Phaeton did was they got this, whatever the missing link was, and they gene spliced their own genes into us humans to make us like Homo erectus and like proto humans. So then we did all the mining and stuff for them. And that's kind of why Mars and Phaeton were super advanced. And that's why they got destroyed and Earth wasn't, because Earth is like full of like proto humans compared to those two.
We had
And
Australopithecus,
yeah,
or
so
and then I don't remember, to be honest, the other
yeah,
one.
it's like it's you can look it up. It's not super important to what happened, but
But
it
that was like
is.
in the billions years ago, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Australopithecus.
Well, these people were advanced enough to go take over the galaxy 13,000 years ago. They would have had that technology a lot longer than that. So the thing is, they came and they made monkeys into humans, basically. So every time you see like Gobekli Tepe or the pyramids or everything, was a small group of the Mars people and the Phaetons got away and they came to Earth and they built all these structures to like give us hints at technology and stuff. Like if you look at the pyramids and stuff, they have all this like built-in secrets about like the precession of the equinox, the size of the earth, uh solstices and stuff. And it's basically like what they wanted to do was leave humans enough clues on how to like farm and stuff that we could technologically advance, but they also wanted to do it under the radar of the other aliens that are kind of policing humans. Because what happened was, after they lost the war, like Mars got destroyed and Phaeton got blown up and turned into the moon. What happened was humans were told, all right, you fucking idiots, you're fucking around. You don't get to join the intergalactic community for 15,000 years until, as a human society, you can spiritually evolve so that when you're able to go to the stars, you don't just try to fuck them up and take them all over and stuff. So they like degenerated our like mental capacity, I guess, and all our technology and stuff so that we didn't know how to build spaceships and stuff. But one of the things they were afraid of was humans' inert ability to like advance themselves. Like if you look, like an example of this is if you look at the Wright brothers, they like were the first people to figure out how to fly and stuff. And we're like, holy shit, we flew for 10 seconds. And then within 50 years, we're dropping atomic bombs on each other. So that's just a good, like, encapsulated example of how fast humans can evolve and basically how we're always prone to warfare with each other.
How we're
And
prone to it. Yeah.
yeah, I forgot to look this up. But another weird thing too is we've had the ability to make atomic bombs and nuclear bombs since the 50s, but we haven't used any on each other. And that's, I'm going to look up Tsar Bomba, which was the last nuclear bomb tested. That was 1961. So it was called Tsar Bomba. It was Russia dropped. It was the most powerful nuclear weapon ever set off, but it was also the last one. So we're going on 60 years where there hasn't been a nuclear bomb detonation.
They're probably still doing it just in the ocean
No, what I'm
and
saying
not letting
is,
people know.
what I'm saying is they're not doing it because the aliens stopped letting us do it. They're like, all right, fuckos, quit doing this shit. You're going to blow yourself up before you can evolve. And one of the popular UFO sightings and stuff is around nuclear sites. Like
Mhm.
there was one time where they're going to do a nuclear test and an alien UFO came and it basically deactivated the nuclear warhead so that it just didn't work anymore. And then the humans are like, all right. And then the UFO took off. And one of the reasons that UFOs started showing up in the 50s and stuff is because all the aliens like the Nordics that are trying to police us and stuff, they came and they're like, we got to keep an eye on these guys extra close now, because before they were just like, we were just fucking like knights in armor and shit, just fucking pooping in rivers and like basically being idiots. And then we just kind of, our trajectory shot up right away. And they're like, okay, I guess they're nearing the end of their 15,000 year um, punishment. So they're like, technological abilities are coming back to them. And that's like why we're kind of exponentially technologically advancing and stuff. Like if you look in the last 10
I
years,
don't think you mentioned 15,000-year punishment before this, did you? Did I
yeah,
miss that?
that's the punishment for the war that Mars and Phaeton got.
Oh,
So they
maybe I
blew
missed you
up,
say that.
yeah, they blew up Phaeton and Mars with comets. And then they're like, all right, you don't get to be smart for 15,000
Yeah, took
years.
the comets away.
Mhm.
Yeah, take the weapons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and then,
Guns don't kill people, people kill people. How about
mhm,
that argument?
yeah,
Seems like it works if you take the weapons away.
that's true. But then we have nothing to
Kidding.
kill the
Throw that plug in
Greys.
there.
So, like I mentioned, did I say it on this podcast or was I talking to you about this where Valery Uvarov was talking about how he actually talked to a human, or not to a human, to an alien?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's maybe
yeah,
you told me that. Yeah, that sounds
Uvarov
familiar.
came up with this whole theory about this, like the War of the Gods and Mars and Phaeton and stuff, because he says he talked to an alien and it communicated with him. And he didn't say what type of alien it was on the podcast, but I'd imagine it was a Nordic, because it was giving him spiritual guidance and stuff. So I'm just looking at my notes, sorry. So now what happened was the Greys, they showed up. I'm just gonna look up. I'm pretty sure Roswell was 47, right?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. I'm just
Don't
looking up.
know.
I'm just looking up the date because I don't want to get
Yeah,
this wrong. So on
aliens aren't
July
really
8th,
my strong suit.
1947, was when the Roswell incident that everybody knows about. I feel
Uh,
like if I have to explain what Roswell was to everybody, then
I think you should though. Just give a quick. Don't
okay.
explain the whole thing.
Actually, I'll explain what happened the way Uvarov says that happened. So in 1947, July 8th, in Roswell, New Mexico, an alien spaceship crashed. Supposedly, it's like if you ask government officials, they say it didn't, but everybody else is like, yeah, something crashed. So what happened was an alien spaceship crashed. Everybody on board except for one alien died, and they were gray aliens. And then the US government started like Area 51 and had the secret base where they took the alien technology and took it underground and started studying it and trying to reverse engineer it. So that's what Roswell alien thing was. But Uvarov is finally trying to give us an example of why those aliens were there in the first place. So Uvarov was saying that the way aliens and stuff get around the galaxy and travel around is there's like this here I'll say okay. So he when you do any type of astral travel, you need to use the field of time. This is his transcribed from the podcast. The field, like a human body, has energy channels. So basically what he's saying is there's time channels through the galaxy, kind of like the way humans have veins and stuff. Where the speed of time is different in these channels. These zones are used for travel. Field of time is a substance that makes this travel possible. So it's hard to just read this transcribe because Uvarov is Russian, so he's ESL, so he doesn't make like as flowerful sentences as yours truly does. Um, so
Clarify. Yeah.
he's saying that the Nordic aliens, well, he's not saying this explicitly. I'm interpreting this from his words. So the Nordic aliens control the channels around Earth because they're our caretakers and they're watching out for us. So the way this works is you go through this time channel, I guess, and then there's kind of like a membrane to get out of the time channel and back into like regular time and space. So the Greys were doing this in 1947. They were coming to Earth like I said before, they want human bodies for various reasons. They want our resources and stuff. So they tried to pop through the membrane to come to Earth, but something happened, and like because they were like trying to do it on the sneak tip, they didn't use the proper process you use to membrane pop or whatever, because they didn't want to get busted by the Nordic aliens, who are kind of like this like highway patrol, where they just kind of like are the policemen who stop people from traveling and stuff. So they crash and stuff. And then but now humans, and I don't know why the Nordics would still, this is the problem with your with it, like living mythology, is you have to keep inventing it as you go, as you find out more stuff, because the whole problem with this is humans are under this 15,000 year like kind of punishment, and the Nordics are looking out for them and stuff, and not allowing us to have any connection with other aliens from out the universe. I guess one explanation would be that the group of aliens the Nordics kind of belong to, that was in war for the War of the Gods. Maybe the Greys and Reptilians weren't involved in that war, and that's why they can come, because they're kind of like a third party and they're not involved, because the Nordic aliens are keeping us and all the other aliens from connecting with each other because they don't want us to commingle and stuff, and they don't want like another thing Uvarov says is he doesn't want they don't want aliens to get into contact with us and kind of get affected by basically our beast mode where we want to kill everything. They're scared that if aliens come into contact with us, they'll get like humanized and then start killing each other and stuff. So that's the hole in the theory, is that it doesn't explain how reptilians and greys are here, but it also like explains why they're here or something. So
Just from a
another
different
thing,
place. Space is
yeah,
pretty big.
that's true. And I mean, you can't exactly expect everyone to be part of the same alliance and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how this to fit this into the narrative, because Eisenhower actually made a deal with the gray aliens, and that was called the Treaty of Greada in 1954. Eisenhower and the Greys. This is off of the website timefordisclosure.com. On the 1954 Greada Treaty, the Eisenhower administration bypassed the US Constitution and formed a pact with alien races. In exchange for advanced technology, the aliens would be allowed to make experiments on livestock, minerals, take minerals from the earth, and a small group of humans. President Dwight Eisenhower established a permanent committee to oversee and conduct all covert activities with the aliens by the Greada Treaty. The committee created on secrecy by Executive Memorandum NSC 5410. I didn't look this up because I don't really know what that means, but it's apparently whatever. Is known as Majority 12 or simply MJ12. So
that's the treaty.
Yeah, that's the group that's overseeing this joint commission between the aliens and supposedly this Dulce base. It's spelled Dulce, so I don't know if it's Dulce because it's based in Dulce, New Mexico. So I guess I could look that up. Here, I'm going to look that up on how to pronounce Dulce, New Mexico.
My question is,
yes,
did they honor that treaty? Because they certainly have not honored all of them.
Actually, ironically, the aliens were the ones that didn't uphold their end of this treaty.
Oh.
Because they started taking more humans and stuff than they were allowed to. Okay, it's Dulce. I was wrong. It's not Dulce or Dulce, it's Dulce.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it.
I thought that was it, but I didn't know enough to actually
that just sounds
correct you.
That just sounds like an American bastardization of the pronunciation Dulce. So Dulce. So Dulce, New Mexico is where this underground base supposedly is. And like I was telling you, the Greys didn't uphold this treaty because apparently in 1979 or something, there was like, I couldn't find anything that would say this. This is just something I've heard in passing on different podcasts. In 1979, in this Dulce Air Base, there was a firefight, and basically the aliens kicked out the humans, and they're like, "We won't be overseen anymore. We're in charge now." B words. So
they made that noise, right?
Yeah.
Your favorite noise?
Like, woo! And they teabagged everybody, and they're lit. So.
Except they didn't have tea bags, right? Or they didn't have the parts.
Oh yeah, because they don't have genitals, so they can't teabag anybody. So
I'm not sure what gesture they made.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look, if there's another thing, missing 411, which is this other conspiracy. So what happens is I'll be researching this God of War or this War of the Gods thing, and I'll be like reading about aliens and stuff, and then something else will happen, and then I'll just be like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'll go down that way. So when I was looking up like the Greys and their Griada treaty to abduct alien or humans and stuff and do stuff on them, there's this thing called the missing 411 conspiracy. And basically missing 411, it's like a computer term. When something's missing, you get error code 411. So what this is saying is, since like, I guess the turn of the century in the States, there's been all these people go missing under conspicuous circumstances in the US national parks. So one of the things that this would tie in is that's where Greys are taking people, because if you're in a national park, you're away from people, so there's less people to see you and less people, like, because if, like, say Greys aren't going to come to downtown Vancouver and suck someone out of their house, because then 100,000 people are going to see it.
A lot of witnesses.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that is like how they're breaking the treaty, I guess. Man, screaming alien war so much made me so raw.
Yeah, I bet.
My voice. I'm gonna lose my voice from screaming about aliens. It's like every guy's dream.
So how much do we have left on this pod?
That's it.
Yeah. Oh.
Basically, I'm sorry to not give you closure, but that's where we are.
I feel like I have no closure. Like, do I believe in aliens? Do I not believe? I'm not really sure.
I gotta mute it.
I kind of do, because I've always been scared of it. Scared of them. I mean, and space is like, it's just too vast. I've always said that. Like, it's like, how can you, it's so arrogant to just be like, no, they don't, nothing exists. No, nothing beyond this. Like, how do you know? I remember I had a friend that was just like, no, I don't believe in that. And I was like, yeah, but how do you know? She's like, I don't, because I just don't believe in it. So it doesn't matter. Like, she was just like, no, I'm like, happy being totally totally close-minded to this.
Yeah, because it's like if you think about space too much, the only place it leads you is to a existential crisis, because basically they don't know how big the universe is. There's no way to tell where the edge is. We don't even know if the universe is growing or shrinking. Like basically it's just blackness, and we don't know how far it goes or how big it is. And past a
I
certain point, we don't know what's out
yeah.
there.
I thought they thought it was just continuously expanding. Is that not what people believe anymore? Like I would
I
take a science
guess.
class. I read National Geographic,
Mhm.
but I don't actually read a lot of space articles. Usually I read it more like
Well,
environmental
this
stuff. So
this is the problem, because the way they tell where the visible, because this is the thing, the visible edge of the universe is growing, because the only way we can detect where we think the universe is picking up either like light transference from stars and stuff, because basically how big we think the universe is like, because we think the universe started 3.5 billion years ago, and how big we think the universe is right now is how long it would have took like some way to measure something 3.5 billion years. So like everything we can see. So basically, I'm just going to say in light, I don't know if they measure it in light, but it's like it takes light a certain amount of time to travel through space. So we can only see 3.5 million billion light years away, because whatever's out there, the light from that thing would have took 3.5 billion years to get here. So one of the reasons they think the universe is growing is just because more time is passing, so more light is reaching the earth from further out things. So they don't know if that's the edge of the universe or if that's just the edge of the universe we can detect.
yeah.
So it's like you start thinking about that and you're like, oh shit, what's past the discernible edge of the measurable universe? We don't fucking know. And another terrifying thing is, so the way our solar system works is the sun, solar, that's why it's called the solar system, is at the middle. And that, so all the other planets like here, 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 they're
Hmm.
spiraling around the sun. So we're like rotating around the sun. But at the same time, the whole solar system is just traveling through space, corkscrewing. Like, what happens if we hit some weird space as the whole solar system is traveling? We don't know. We could hit like fucking like bad vibe space or something, and then we're all grumpy for like 1,000 years. We just don't know. And then like the sun could have like another thing that could happen is the sun could just have a solar flare and fry every electronic on Earth. We don't know.
Yeah.
Like the sun has little solar flares that like fuck up like power lines and stuff that happened in like the 50s, but whatever. Just cross your fingers.
Don't they still? Didn't we just have
Yeah, we have
uh
little ones that don't like melt the earth, but I think at the turn of the
we just
century,
had a solar, is it called a solar storm? We just had one that like took power out
yeah, that's a
or
different
was
thing
predicted
entirely.
to. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
like solar flare is basically when the sun just fucking burps and
Oh,
shoots out a flare of electricity. So basically the way the sun works is it's like this, and it's this
yeah.
burning ball of gas and stuff, and then like it's basically like a boiling water. Like
Yeah.
sometimes a bubble will just be like boop. And so a solar flare is just like when like a
Mm,
bubble happens, it just like spits out radiation.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous bubble though.
Yeah. So I can understand why your friend doesn't want to think about all this big shit, because it's like you start thinking and you're like, oh shit. And then another way people, like a lot of people talk about the simulation, where it's
Hmm.
like we're all part of this computer simulation, but that's just like a,
Yeah, I
that to
remember
me
that
is
one.
just a diversion tactic, because they're like they don't have to think about how big the universe is because we're in a computer. But then you're just 1 degree separated from how big the universe is, because it's like, well, if we're in a computer, who put us there? Who are their gods? How big is their universe? Is
Yeah.
their sun burping up solar flares at their planet? Like, in this computer, are we just going to get melted because whoever started it, like, left it plugged in and it started on fire or something?
Um, is this what you were thinking of about that time you ate edibles and you came into the room and had to just put yourself to bed?
Probably. Yeah.
Folk, one
Me,
time not too long ago, we were gifted some edible cookies, and neither of us are good at these things.
no, I am
So
terrible at weed.
so I ate a lot less than Dale. It didn't affect me.
Mhm.
Dale thought he'd be being a bigger guy, he needed a bit more. So he
Mhm.
ate like a quarter of the cookie. But then I went into the bedroom just to read. I think we tried watching a movie first or something, and then I was just tired, so I went to the bedroom to read. And Dale came in maybe like half an hour later, just looking pale and kind of in shock. And he was just like, I think I have to put myself to bed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm having an existential crisis.
Yeah, weed always does that to me. It's
Just
like
too.
it's
And I
like either I'm
laughed, and
yeah,
then I felt bad for you. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's go to bed, Dale.
yeah, it's either like the space existential crisis is almost easier to have because it's separate from you as a cognitive human. But one that I always have is like, what am I doing with my life? Is my life
So it's not
as
really about
meaningful
space.
as it should be? Yeah, this is the other existential. Like, this is like the inward existential crisis. It's like,
Yeah.
have I done everything I'm supposed to with
I
my
feel like I
life?
have that every day anyway.
Should I be doing more? Like, should I quit my job? Should I write a book? What if I have knowledge that nobody else has? I don't, obviously. Should I be sharing it? Actually, the funny thing is, the reason I do this podcast and Outrage Factory is because it's kind of like stuffing that existential crisis back in the trunk so I don't have to deal with it, because it's like, well, I am leaving a legacy of myself for future generations. Yeah, it might not be how to like solve cold fusion and stuff, but it is just me talking about stuff, maybe thinking, giving people a perspective on something they haven't thought about. I
Oh,
mean, dick jokes are still a perspective, technically.
they are. It's true. And if
Yeah.
somebody somewhere gets a laugh, Dale, I think that's good.
Hmm.
I don't always agree with Dale's humor, but I do think I think laughter is medicine for sure. So I
It's like
appreciate
we gotta
that he
rope
can
it
do
all
that.
back together and fight the reptilians by making each other laugh with shitty jokes, because the reptilians want to separate us. They want
They probably don't
humanity to
even tell jokes.
yeah. And if they tell each other jokes, they're terrible jokes. But me, like, what's the best way to make people endearing to you? Make them laugh. That's
Yeah.
how you make people laugh like you, because that's a lot of the times people who are bullied or socially awkward, they develop a good sense of humor because that's the easiest way to make someone like you. Like, you make them laugh and they're like, everybody loves laughing. It's a good feeling. And they're like, oh, this person makes me feel good. Therefore, I like them. Therefore, I will try to make their life better so that my life will be better because they'll be around more to laugh. And that's how
Maybe
you
that's
fight the reptilians.
yeah. There you go.
Mhm. Did I leave anything out? Do you feel like the alien war narrative was good?
I mean, I'm lost on a little. I'm
Well,
not
what
gonna
are you
lie to
lost
you.
on? Let me try clear it up. Because if you're
No,
lost, then other people are lost.
it's not really anything you're gonna be able to clear up. It's more, I think it's just not my thing, to be
Mm.
quite frank. No.
Well, it's like every
Uh,
theory. There's always
yeah.
holes. But yeah,
I've heard
ask me
of
questions.
I have heard of all of those though,
Hmm.
for sure. And where have I heard of them? Yeah, I think just in horror movies and stuff, it's always the Greys, right?
Yeah.
And then the Reptilians. Where does that come in? I'm pretty sure I heard would you say his name? David Icke?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe I heard about that from you though.
Well,
And then the Nordic type of
yeah.
alien too.
Some examples of reptilians, because one of my problems with stuff like this is I don't take into account that people are like entry level conspiracy theory and stuff who are like watch this. Like there might be people who don't know what the reptilians are. So a good example of this was there was a television show series called V, where reptilian aliens came to Earth and they're disguised as humans. There's the movie They Live with Roddy Piper, which has different, like they don't look like reptiles. They kind of just look like they have like weird skeleton faces, but that's the
Oh, is this
same.
not lizard people?
Yeah, it
Is
is
this
lizard
different?
people.
Oh, it is.
But
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
saying that
Heard of those, yeah.
the movie They Live has like secret aliens like running society and stuff. So that's a good example of what it would be like. And then and then like and another thing is like reptilians is also like might have to do with Satan giving Eve the apple because it was a snake and stuff. So that like if none of this is true, which I'm not saying it is, like people could have just come up with reptilian aliens because of Satan giving Eve the apple, or did they come up with Satan being a lizard because of reptilian aliens? What came first, the chicken or the egg, Satan or reptilians? Yeah, we don't know. True. There's no way to find out. But like one thing I want, like I had some like random thoughts about this that I wasn't really able to bury into the narrative and stuff. But like the Mayan calendar ended, like it wasn't like it ended supposedly around 2012, and a bunch of people said, when I say a bunch of people, that's just various podcasts and stuff I read that I can't remember. So a bunch of people said that it wasn't actually like an apocalyptic thing. It was just the precession of the equinox was going to change. Or could it mean that our time under punishment is ending? Like I said it before during this podcast, like it seems like our technology is growing exponentially. Like we're going so fast with all this technological stuff that maybe our time's almost up.
Till we blow it next time.
Yeah, hopefully we aren't huge dickheads and just go to try ruin all the other galaxies, because I, for one, I still have my fingers crossed that aliens are out there and I get to either meet one day or communicate it with it through chat or something.
Or go to space. Dan wants to go to space. I'm staying here. I don't care what
happens. I would love to go to space.
I don't care if the Earth blows up or burns. I am staying here. What? Yeah, I don't want to go to space. I have no desire to go to
understand. Here's one thing you can't understand. Oh, just do, man. It's like, because you're not alone in this. There are people who would just never go to space.
Yeah, I'm an Earth person. I am.
Yeah, one of the theories I always posit is if you could go colonize Mars, but you couldn't come back, would you go? And I, for sure, would have gone, and you would not go.
No, I wouldn't.
I guess is we could take this back to our past, because we're always like, why would people come from Europe to the New World with no promise of anything? And if I was back then, I definitely would have come.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to live in London where they're literally shitting in a river in the center of town? Or do you want to go to the sticks and live in Montana? I pick Montana all day. Do you want to be I guess surfs were done by then. The craziest thing is how recent we came to the New World.
Yeah. And that's only part of me. That's all you and a part of me. Like, another part of me is just from here.
Wait, what year did we come here? Like the 1500s or something? Like France?
Columbus was like 1492, wasn't he? And then after it was more like 1600s. Yeah.
So yeah, like whatever.
In 14,
that's like 700 years. Meanwhile, people are sailing all around Europe fighting each other and stuff, and they just didn't end up coming over here. It must have been dope over
Yeah,
here.
there was just evidence of, I think, Vikings found in Newfoundland, a small like Viking village.
But
and I really didn't have an idea what happened.
they didn't get to stick around because I feel like when I was doing the Templar Knights podcast, the last 3 episodes, they were saying that when the Vikings came over, the First Nations people that were here chased them off. And one of the reasons that the Templar Knights were able to come over here was because, what was it?
No, this was like literally in the news last week, though.
No,
like
I know. They've known Vikings were here.
No, they found the actual, like, they found artifacts and stuff.
But
Like,
there was that part of our heritage moment where, you
I don't
remember
remember
those?
that.
Like those, if you're not in Canada, we have these commercials called Part of Our Heritage, where it's a short video of a historical thing.
I totally
And one of them
remember
was
those.
these two archaeologists finding remnants of Vikings over on the East Coast.
Oh, when did
But
that just happen? Oh, 2
maybe,
weeks ago.
maybe what you're thinking of was actually earlier than that.
No, I think they just maybe discovered something about it.
Mm-hmm.
What did they discover? Scientists date Viking village in Canada to nearly 500 years before Columbus's first voyage of discovery across the Atlantic. So that's what they found.
Oh, so that would
They
have been
just
like
dated it.
that would have been like the year 1000. That's way earlier.
Yeah, 1021 AD.
Oh, one thing I want to clear up is it's not like everybody was like, Dale, I don't know if everybody's like this, but one thing that everybody could have been talking about was like, Dale, when you were talking about like advanced people being here, there's this whole thing I forgot to mention was advanced people being here like 13,000 years, here being North America. Why don't we have any remnants of them up in Canada or northern US? And that's because there was like a 1 mile thick ice sheet over the top half of North America because it was like a mini ice age. And at the point where the solar system went through the comet field and stuff, and it destroyed Phaeton and Mars, what happened was a comet hit the North American ice sheet and melted it. And that's what was called the Diluvian event. So that would have like superheated this ice sheet and melted it. And then it flooded it. And you can like, Randall Carlson is like, talks about this a lot. If you look up Randall Carlson, you could see he like talks about there's certain ripples in the southern US that are examples of this. And what this would have done was raise the sea level, I think, like, I don't even want to say, but it raised the sea levels enough that any societies that were on the coastline before this happened were basically covered with water. And some are saying that this might even be what happened to Atlantis. So
Oh,
yeah, there was
I
that.
used to believe in Atlantis.
I mean, it's not true.
My
Like,
mom had a lot of books about like different myths and stuff. She even had like Edgar Casey books when I was growing up. And so I read them and I kind of didn't necessarily know that some people didn't think that was true for a
oh,
while. I
that's
remember for
hilarious.
a
Yeah.
while just thinking, oh, I thought Atlantis was real. I just thought that was a real thing.
I
She
mean,
read, my mom, just for the record,
yeah.
my mom is a very well-read lady and she reads nonfiction history books all the time. So she wasn't just like new agey, but she had some of those in her collection and I definitely read them.
I mean, as far as books goes, those are really the only ones that interest me. Like anytime I listen to an audiobook, it's always about something like new agey, like the Aliens or Zecharia Sitchin. I might actually get the Uvarov book that we were talking about at the beginning and listen to that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
every time I read our National Geographic, that we got a subscription to National Geographic back in May, which still is a little behind on. I'm trying to keep
I
up.
don't read books.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
keep up.
can't.
It's
I
hard. It
just
is hard. You're so used to like doing other things, looking at your
mhm.
phone. Like I read news on my phone, but it's weird to sit down with a book and try to like really focus on it. It
My
does. It
problem
is weird.
is
Anyway,
I
my point is,
can't just sit and read. I need to be like playing video games or doing something
yeah,
else. That's why I love
something
audiobooks. I
interactive.
listen to them when I'm at work. Sorry, I
Yeah,
interrupted you.
yeah. My point is just you're saying like the kind of stuff you listen to
Mhm.
is like whatever, all this other conspiracy, new agey, whatever. I don't even know what genre you call that. But like we just went through a pandemic. It was a pretty hard time. I feel there was some depression involved in that whole thing for a lot of us. Um
Was.
and still, yeah, and still.
Yeah.
Um and every time I sit down to read National Geographic, while it is very informative, it is always depressing. It is
Oh, huge bummer.
almost every single article because it's always environmental and generally always how the environment is just getting destroyed.
It's funny because when you think about National Geographic from when you were a kid, you never remember that it was just full of shitty articles talking about the earth being doomed. Like you remember being like animals and maybe some titties from some tribe somewhere or like some stuff
I
about like
actually do remember breasts being in them
yeah,
sometimes. Yeah, and
or
that
like
being like really
Easter Island
shocking.
monuments and stuff. It was never like, "Oh, the earth's on fire. Have fun." Like the whole
Yeah,
overall
they're
voice of
good.
National Geographic is kind of a downer.
Well, we got, I don't know which one we got, but I mean, you can get National Geographic history. You can get
Oh, you could
Canadian
get history?
Geographic too. Yeah, we could have got, and then I forget
Canadian
what other,
Geographic.
they have like a couple that are very specific. And I don't
Can
know
you
the one
get
we got. I love
National
environmental
Geographic
stuff, but
non-wet blanket?
yeah, I mean, it's important. We should all
Yeah.
know we're on a burning ship and just keep driving it straight into the direction we're driving it. So
All right. And on that, no, just kidding.
yeah, right.
No, it's true. Yeah. So back to we can end. I've talked about everything I want to. I just want to make sure that there wasn't anything you were questioning about what I was talking about because I don't want to like hear about it after the fact. Like I'd rather address any questions now than
Yeah.
have someone listen to this and be like, "Oh, you never talked about this, Dale. Way to go." Also, if you want to compliment me on my not Tibetan throat singing that I did at the beginning, I'd love to hear from you.
Just you can just say you're aspiring, but you should
Yes.
probably find a legitimate person to teach you if
Oh
you
my
want
god.
to. Because that's the most appropriate way
That's
is
gonna be
like
my next hobby that I get too much into. I'm
to
just gonna
have
start
a
throat singing.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you can find a Tibetan throat singing teacher here.
Also, if you want to sample that thing I did at the beginning that wasn't Tibetan throat singing and put it in music, feel free. Just give me a heads up. I'm not going to sue you for copyright. I just want to show
Yeah.
everybody and brag about it being me.
The reason I'm being so specific is because I am concerned about cultural appropriation and I want to make sure that you're being respectful in how you talk about it and do it. That you're not
Hmm.
just mimicking, that you say you appreciate it and you're hoping somebody will legitimately teach you someday
I do appreciate it.
and give you permission to actually do
It's
it.
also fun to do and sounds dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have no more questions about the alien war, then we can end this.
Yeah. Okay.
Alien war.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, on
Thanks
that
for
note,
listening,
just
everybody.
wide-eyed Andrea getting out of here.
Bye.
Okay, bye.